We're getting word at this time that Nawaz Sharif has left the residence of India's former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee. He will be driving in a very short while from now back to the Taj Hotel, where he will address a brief media interaction. Mr. Rajiv Dogra, what can we expect from this interaction? Because it's not a sit-down, proper, detailed interaction. This will obviously be very brief because he's standing, journalists are standing. What can people expect from it? What do you expect?
Well, I think it's well planned from the Pakistani viewpoint. They do not want too many uncomfortable questions coming in from the Indian media. So they want a select few questions which Mr. Nawaz Sharif would handle the way Pakistan wants him to handle it. So it would be probably brief. One or two uncomfortable questions may slip in, but that is about it. If it is a standing format, that means it might be briefer than even what we anticipate.
Absolutely. Here is Nawaz Sharif now at the Taj Mahal Hotel. That's his press advisor asking journalists to sit down. He's obviously decided he wants to go to his room before he comes down and speaks to the journalists. That's Manzoor Khan. He's the press attaché in the High Commission in Delhi. You see him on your screen right now. I think Nawaz Sharif has gone up to the presidential suite. He will come down, and only after that will he address the media. This will also give people an opportunity to get their thoughts together. He's now come back from the residence of Atal Bihari Vajpayee, and we're also hearing at this time that Narendra Modi will call on former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh at 4 PM this afternoon. This man A has some capacity to keep working, and B, he's pressing all the right buttons. Are people advising him, you think, Mr. Dogra, on what's the right thing to do, the best thing to do, or is all of this coming just naturally to him?
No, I mean, he's fond of working. He's already said he'll be the first Mazdoor of the country. So he's living up to that reputation and has promised. But calling on Mr. Manmohan Singh is the graceful thing to do. Second, in any case, there has to be some debriefing by the outgoing Prime Minister. So both ways, I think he's doing the right thing. Let's see what Mr. Manmohan Singh has in terms of advice to Mr. Modi about how to tackle Pakistan in general and Nawaz Sharif in particular.
Will he take that advice to say, well, I probably got elected because I didn't follow your advice and the last thing I need to do is read off Manmohan Singh's script?
Well, I feel it's just a courtesy call. He's being nice about it, as Mr. Modi is. He's going to go back and pay respects to a senior and elder person who's been Prime Minister of India for 10 years. I don't think any substantive issue is going to come before this discussion. I don't think he's seeking any advice per se from the Prime Minister, ex-Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. But the point.
Yes.
While he's going and doing all these nice things and correct things at the appropriate time, your question was, is there someone who's briefing him or assisting him, or is it all totally on his own? I believe that he has a very strong team which is watching and supporting him. One such example that came out yesterday in the evening was that he tweeted while he was being briefed in the Gujarat Bhavan, and within a couple of minutes he was to arrive in Rashtrapati Bhavan.
Yes.
In that short a while, he certainly couldn't have tweeted anything on his own. There is definitely some...
No, I'll tell you how he does it. I've seen how he does it.
Yeah.
He's speaking to people, he picks up something which is interesting, he calls someone in, he's the officer who's tweeting, he's the one who helps him with IT. He tells him what to write, the gentleman writes it down, he comes back and shows it to him, Modi approves it, voila, that's how it gets tweeted.
So there is a very strong support team available.
Which is good. He's the Prime Minister, he can have as big a team as he wants.
And he was having that in Ahmedabad as well.
Sure.
Even during the election period, what we believe from the media, that he had a very strong support team working from Ahmedabad, preparing his notes, preparing his briefings, listening to the media all over the world and briefing him.
You're absolutely right. And not just that, as Rahul was wanting to know, he had a number of teams who were already briefing him, preparing him for the eventual job on issues like foreign policy, security, economy, and so on. There were 5 such groups. So Mr. Modi has not come as a complete novice. He has come well prepared, and before the meetings with the regional leaders, he was given absolute briefing by professionals from Foreign Office on each of the meetings.
Which was visible during his election speeches as well.
No, so we are waiting for Nawaz Sharif to start speaking. He's gone up to his room to freshen up, and then he'll be down speaking to journalists. He'll probably also have a quick chat with his advisors on what's the best thing to say, the right thing to say, what's the message they would like to send. But I want for a moment to focus on Sushma Swaraj, the new External Affairs Minister. She escorted Nawaz Sharif out after this meeting. Mr. Ranade, how do you see her equation play out, given the fact that she's had frayed relations with Modi in the past? She wasn't a big fan of Modi. That weighs on Modi's mind and her mind. She's been given a very important portfolio in keeping with her stature, which she should have got. But how do you see that past bitterness now play out?
Well, I think the first thing is she has to measure up to the expectations, and she's had to hit the ground running with this, with these series of meetings today. And I don't know whether she's going to come hold a press conference of her own or leave it to the Foreign Secretary. But if she does, then you know, that will be another chance for her to show
She's been leader of the opposition, so she's met various international dignitaries over the last 7 years, called on them whenever they were here for a state visit. So she has a certain amount of exposure. But what do you see of her qualifications in comparison with Pranab Mukherjee, Salman Khurshid, people who held that job under the UPA?
Well, I think Mr. Pranab Mukherjee is a very hard act to follow. He's got hundreds of years of experience. But Sushma Swaraj is no walkover, no pushover. She's an intelligent lady. She's very articulate. She's had ministerial experience as well as Jaidev was saying, experience as leader of the opposition.
What are the MEA secretaries making of their new boss, Sushma Swaraj? How do they see her being different from Salman Khurshid?
They've interacted with her as leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha. She had access to all confidential documents that she may have desired, enjoyed the rank of a cabinet minister, was briefed regularly on matters of international importance. She knows the foreign secretary knows her. The two have interacted extensively. In fact, some of us were supposed to meet Sushma Swaraj early this morning, but since the list of cabinet ministers from the Rashtrapati Bhavan only came out after 9 o'clock, we were slated to meet her at 8, but that meeting has now been postponed, and sources saying she may well be briefing us in about an hour from now, Sushma Swaraj herself, and perhaps may not leave it either to the foreign secretary or to Syed Akbaruddin, the spokesperson, but that's a decision that will be taken in a while from now. She was briefed extensively.
No, she's been a bit down during the election campaign. She campaigned in her own seat. She campaigned in a limited fashion outside. Obviously, the whole acrimony and bitterness has been playing, but now she has a task at hand, and she's a very proud woman. She wants to prove that she can be very successful, and that really gives her that motivation to go out and make her mark and to create an imprint. But given the big banyan tree under whom she's functioning, will she have the space to do so?
No, I believe when you say that she was a bit out when the elections were going on, I won't buy that. I would say she was extremely hardworking, and such kind of speculations. Even if she were working, you would have said she's working more. That would have become a breaking news if she was less seen. Why she is less seen? So I believe that.
Okay, don't deny the obvious. Just answer my question.
That is a character of media that we should speculate. Otherwise, news.
No,
would
we're not
not
speculating. I'm stating facts. I'm wanting you to answer the question.
She had already proved her mettle in the sense that she was a cabinet minister in the Vajpayee government, and the kind of work she has done, she has proved herself as the LOP also, and she's a fantastically articulate person. She has a way of doing things about her personality, and the best part is she is one of the leaders whom the 50% of population of this country is looking up towards. So I believe she has all that would make her a fantastic leader, and banyan tree, who does not need one, especially after there was no tree for 10 long years.
No, but the difference is, when you think you're bigger than the banyan tree, or at least for a while, you were bigger than the banyan tree, and suddenly this tree goes so fast that it then subsumes and consumes everything around it. Yes, General Prasad.
No, you see, Sushma Swaraj is a very mature person.
Absolutely.
He's been in the parliament. She can speak very well. She's very articulate. She's knowledgeable, and she's not shy. So I don't see why she wouldn't address this press meeting.
In fact, this gives her an opportunity.
And she has first-hand knowledge of what went inside.
Absolutely.
And she is mature enough to say what should be brought in public domain and what should not be brought in public domain. So personally, I feel that she is the one who's going to address the press meeting, maybe for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or 15 minutes, whatever length it is. But I don't think she'll shy away from it.
No, absolutely, I agree with you. But Rahul was also hinting in his very polite way to the issue of chemistry. And there, Rahul, I think right from the beginning, Nehru, Patel, many others later, there has been an issue of chemistry among some leaders. But neither Mr. Modi nor Mrs. Sushma Swaraj is going to get any of those issues in the way of functioning, and especially because both are nationalists to the core.
And both have India's best interests at heart. Remember when the Indian soldiers were beheaded, Sushma Swaraj made a very emphatic statement saying that they've killed our people, we must kill more. In fact, that got into a different sort of controversy, but she was very, very firm, very, very nationalistic, and that's the approach generally that she brings to the Foreign Office. So I want to go across to our colleague Hamza Amir, who's reporting this afternoon out of Islamabad. Hamza, what's the Pakistan takeaway from this big meeting? How are analysts, experts, the Pakistani media covering the Nawaz Sharif Modi meeting, deconstructing what we've seen happen over the past 1.5 hours?
Well, in Pakistan, the sentiment is very, very positive. They are actually hailing the efforts from Nawaz Sharif to actually take the brave decision of going to India, going ahead with handshakes, sharing emotional, details with Narendra Modi, which actually proves that, the ice has actually been broken in a very positive way. And they want Pakistan to make sure that issues that need to be addressed on table should be jotted down in this initial icebreaker so that it can be taken forward. There should be a course of plan for the future upcoming meetings decided also so that, things can move forward and there can be some fruit out of this meeting as well. They are hopeful that going forward, Narendra Modi and Nawaz Sharif will work towards, regional peace, dealing with all the issues. Pakistan has some set of issues that need to be addressed. India has some sets of issues and they need to be talked over. So in Pakistan, the sentiment is very, very positive about Nawaz Sharif's visit to India.
Various statements on what, or at least information nuggets coming out on what Modi told Nawaz Sharif in this meeting. Is there any word in Pakistan on what Nawaz Sharif told Modi during the same meeting?
Not yet, but we've been speaking to some of the party members over here, and they say economic trade, peace, and regional stability will be the main focus of agenda, in the meeting that Nawaz Sharif has had with Narendra Modi, and also is going on with the President of India. But still, we don't have actually actual details. Party members are still saying that, the agenda of the meeting was very, very much clear. Pakistan has gone with a team of people who actually define and derive the foreign policy of the country, and that is why it will be important that how they take things forward on economic grounds and also on relations of strategic dialogue between the two countries.
In just a few moments from now, Pakistan's Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif will be addressing Indian journalists at the Taj Mahal Hotel. We've got a live video feed coming in from there. You can see the preparations currently on. Nawaz Sharif went up to his room, probably for a meeting with his advisors, to come back and then brief Indian journalists. I hope, Mr. Dogra, this is not a meeting for lunch, because in which case it could take that much longer. But he also needs to leave at 5 p.m. and I'm told that at 3:15 this afternoon there is a Ministry of External Affairs briefing here in South Block, which essentially means his window of opportunity, if he wants to go first and speak to the media first, is now. So he can't afford lunch right now.
Well, lunch takes the first priority with Nawaz Sharif, that's for sure. And as far as aircraft departures are concerned, they can always be delayed by a few minutes. But MEA would not hold its press conference before Nawaz Sharif finishes his.
Why not?
They would want to respond to his statement or his answers to the question. So I think MEA is, as usual, being very correct, but also very wise in holding their press conference after. Because
you don't want Nawaz Sharif to play to the gallery. And they've done it several times in the past, to come out and then completely derail talks after the talk is over by grandstanding during a press conference.
He could very well do that, and that is why MEA has very cautiously decided to hold their press conference after that, but immediately after that. They are not giving too much of a time gap. Immediately after that, so that they don't miss any of the deadlines for the newspapers or media.
No, that they won't. This is the big headline. The focus will be on this. We don't quite know fully what Nawaz Sharif is going to say. We've heard so far only from the Indian press. General Shankar Prasad, what do the soldiers deployed along the line of control make of this interaction? We are hearing just this morning there was a ceasefire violation once more. that ceasefire now rendered quite meaningless. But I see that the ceasefire can be turned on and turned off very conveniently whenever it suits those who control the ceasefire.
As far as a soldier on the line of control is concerned, he has only one objective and one mission, is to guard the line of control. While he may be interested because of the media availability to him, of following what's going on in Delhi and about the swearing in and about these talks and about these meetings, but his primary objective remains to guard the line of control and to fight terrorists whom he encounters day in and day out. I don't think these talks are going to have any direct effect or impact or in the manner in which he's going to operate. His manner of operation remains unchanged. Talks or no talks, good talks or bad talks, it doesn't matter. Yes, he is informed that something is happening, but let me also say that I perceive that the soldiers in the Indian Army have great expectations and hope from Mr. Narendra Modi. More so because of the kind of speeches that he made during the electioneering time. He has displayed to everyone that he is very much pro-military. He looks after, he is concerned about them, he is concerned about modernization, he is concerned about how the veterans are being treated. So the atmosphere in the armed forces today is that we feel, and so does the soldier on the line of control, that Mr. Narendra Modi is our man finally. Therefore, what he is doing is the right thing. I have to do my duty to protect the line of control. I have to make sure that there is no trans-border ingress, and I have to make sure that every single terrorist who crosses the border is eliminated.
We're hearing now that all bilateral meetings at Hyderabad House have now been concluded. Bilaterals at Rashtrapati Bhavan are still on. Pakistan's Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif will also be going and calling on India's President Pranab Mukherjee in a short while from now. But what we don't know yet is what Nawaz Sharif says in that press conference, and we don't even know yet how the MEA will respond to what happens in that press conference. But from the perspective of Narendra Modi, it's been a big day. He's hit the ground running. And I want to talk about the role that people like Sartaj Aziz can play. He's been the backroom negotiator. Do you see people like him going forward, Mr. Ranade, have a role to play in trying bringing the dialogue process back on track, if at all that's what India wants?
Certainly. Firstly, let's see what happens here and what has happened between them at the talks. But Sartaj Aziz will have a role, as will some others, to contact each other and try and see what happens. Things forward.
Hamza is with us. Hamza, take our viewers through the sort of narrative we've seen in Pakistan on Narendra Modi taking over as India's new Prime Minister. How does the Pakistani media and the Pakistani public read this, Hamza?
Well, see, in Pakistan, the concerns are there. People have not forgotten 2002. People are not very fond of seeing Narendra Modi come in power. And that is why they do not accept anything positive coming out of it as well. And I'm talking about the locals in Pakistan. They say that in the coming future, Pakistan will have to be extra vigilant and extra careful at dealing with India because there's Narendra Modi sitting in the Prime Minister chair. Secondly, there is serious concern shown by the military establishment and also the defense and security analysts. They say that the line of control issue, Pakistan Army's position on India will have to be a major target to actually, secure, because Narendra Modi's stance on Pakistan is very negative. During the election campaign, he's given out many statements that have actually, moved them to actually say this, that he's a negative about Pakistan. Thirdly,
so what is considered negative in Pakistan is what is considered positive in India, and that's also the reason why he's got 282 seats in the Lok Sabha and 335 as an alliance. Just stay with me, Hamza. OS Tawheed, the senior Pakistani journalist, is also joining us, and I want Mr. Tawheed for you to share with our viewers your sense of the sort of Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be in the context of India's relationship with Pakistan.
Rahul, before I touch the topic, to me the relationship between Pakistan and India, since the partition is like a quilt made of tears and sewn with threads of blood. So whenever a handshake, either in Pakistan or in India, like Modi and Sharif, it brings hopes for millions. At the same time, it pains many on sides, be it Mumbai attack or Samjhauta Express and so on. So I think that there are two narratives in Pakistan. One is portraying Modi as a communal leader, and they see with the vernaculars of that particular Gujarat riot, and they see Modi as a right-wing Hindu leader who is going to take India to the extreme right. But at the same time, there are many in Pakistan who see him as a leader who has covered a lot of distance to become the national leader, and even secured votes from Muslims in India. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's how we look here, as that sort of even Muslim population voted for Mr. Modi. Now, Mr. Modi has to prove, no doubt, even to the secular liberal forces in India or in the subcontinent. But at the same time, there are problems with Nawaz Sharif as well. As the saying goes, that along Pakistan-Afghanistan border, which is known as Western borders, snow has melted, and Pakistan has to deal with the militants along the border in the backdrop of US withdrawals. And there are people who want to see the snow melting on the eastern border. So they see it as this handshake as a good omen for both the countries. And I hope that there is no stepping in the bag from hawkish elements of both the sides, and everything goes well.
Thank you very much, sir, for joining us with your thoughts from Pakistan. We're hearing the first word out from Nawaz Sharif. This, as he was coming in towards Taj Hotel, he was asked by journalists standing what he thought of this meeting, and he said very briefly, the meeting with Modi was excellent, looking forward to a positive outcome. That's all that we've heard so far from Nawaz Sharif. The cameras are set, the stage is ready. He will be addressing journalists in a short while from now. Then at 3:15 PM is the Ministry of External Affairs briefing in South Block.